Hey everybody, Brad Ross here with MakeMagicMoney.com, and welcome to this evening's webinar, Daycare's A to Z with Mr. John Carlson. I am very excited to be welcoming my good buddy John Carlson here tonight. We are going to have a totally sold out webinar as we teased earlier on this evening. We sent out that email around 6:30 Eastern Standard Time to let you guys know that we do have a full house. We are just about at capacity right now. We've got 80 people on so far, and we had over 215 register. So congratulations to all of you guys for locking in a space. I'm sure I'm going to get my little buzz here briefly in a few minutes, letting me know that we have reached our 99 seat limit. So just want to do a quick little check to make sure you guys can, in fact, hear me. Let's see. I know we've got Paul Dahlholt out there. Excellent. And let's see. Excellent. Let's see. Annie says, Annie Caldwell, I can't stay by the computer the whole time. I'll switch to telephone. Excellent. Got to see Ken Stewart is on here. Ron Levine says we sound fine. Scott Lesovic, hey there, Scotty, says we sound loud and clear. Mr. Mike Tobias, Dynamike the Magician, Mr. Danny Hamill from all the way up in Canada, Jason Purdy, hey Jason, my friend Bob Cordero, Greg, Ben Young down there in Tennessee, Mr. Carl Lang is here with us, Mr. Paul Dahlholt. Man, we are going to have an awesome good time here this evening. What I want to do before we go any further is I want to welcome my special guest on here, Mr. John Carlson, with a big round of applause for John.
Hey, everybody. So nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Brett. I am so looking forward to this tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn some things. It's going to be a great webinar.
Awesome. That is what we like to hear. Can you guys hear John? John, just welcome everyone once again. We're just going to do a quick mic check on you.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Could you hear me out there? Let's give us a check.
All right, Paul says yep. Neil says yes. JR, Eddie, hey Eddie Wade, Scott Dorfman, excellent. They're all saying yep, nice and clear, excellent. Brian Price says check. Tom says loud and clear. Jim says yep, only 44. All right. Excellent. Very, very good. 5x5. There we go. Rick Pennington. Hey, Rick, you got 2 nights of webinars. Rick was on a Capital Convention webinar with us last night for Amazing System. I see we got Brenda Hardy here with us. Dick, we've got Carl, we got Scott. Excellent. All right, you guys are in for a treat. Excellent, excellent, excellent. You guys are, like I said, are in for a real treat this evening because what John has got to share with you this evening is going to blow you away. This is something that is an area of John's business. He is the Northeast's leading children's and family entertainer. This guy, man, as long as I've ever known John, you have been just so busy, John, working in the birthday party market and the daycare market, and that's really the bread and butter of your business, is it not?
Absolutely. I mean, I work just about every market. I love doing this and I love doing that. I mean, I'll be going from birthday parties on the weekends, and then Monday I'm in a daycare, Tuesday I'm in a school, Wednesday I'm in a nursing home. You see our good friend Jimmy Brown? And, just doing all different markets. I just love the variety, and it keeps me busy, and it keeps me happy. Yeah, sound effects, Brad. I love it. But I'm just so excited, man. We got some real pros tonight, man. These are action takers. These are a lot of people I met before at different seminars and stuff, and I'm just so excited to be sharing with these guys. Real pros. I love it.
Yeah, that is awesome. So, John, take us through here because so much of the bulk of your business is what you do in daycares. I know folks are going to have a lot of questions here. We're going to take you guys through John's daycare system step by step and exactly what he does in his business. But first, we want to address the question, why the daycare market, John? You know, obviously, we got a lot of pros on here, and I think the daycare market is one of those markets where a lot of people worry that, either they're going to be looked down upon by their fellow magi or whatnot. But the reality is hey, we're in business here, and daycares is a great place to not only hone your skills as a magician and break in some new material a lot of times, but it's also a place where you can actually make quite a bit of money at a time when whether you work elementary schools, and you work birthday parties on the weekends, corporate shows. Daycares, you're able to work at times that most other shows are not booking. So tell us a little bit, why daycare marketing?
Well, first of all, Brad, it really is the easiest market to work. The shows are there for the picking. Daycare directors, they're looking for really good entertainers to come in and provide a great program for them. So it's really an easy market. Plain and simple. It's also one of the most neglected markets, believe it or not, because a lot of magicians, they have a fear of working for young audiences because they're really not sure what they should do for the young audiences. And of course, it's the most abused because you get guys go in there who maybe don't have a lot of experience, and they go in there, they start playing loud music, and they just don't know what type of magic tricks to do for the younger kids. And they're worried about the reaction that they're going to get from the kids, and they don't know really how to handle the younger kids, so they really kind of abuse it, and that basically reflects upon all of us because once daycare has somebody, a magician that goes in there and does a bad job, and the next time we try to get in there and do something, they're a little bit nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
They hesitate. But if we come in there and we provide something educational, that's the key. If you have an educational program, you're really going to hit home with them, and it's going to be that much easier to book the show.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. One of the interesting things that I know was a question that had come up from several folks early on when folks were hearing that we were going to be doing this webinar. And honestly, I got to say again, I had no idea there were that many people that were interested in this market. I mean, John and I, of course, trying to provide some value here, and want to, really educate you guys. One of my goals with MakeMagicMoney.com when I set out to create it years ago, as well as we've just recently expanded. We now own the Magic Marketing Center, and one of my goals is really to help our community of magicians and clowns, variety entertainers with things that they want to know about. And so I was just really blown away that so many people were interested in doing better within the daycare market. And one of the questions, John, that came up from a lot of folks is, who are we actually selling to? Because I think there's a little bit of misconception here. A lot of times, again, as you said, people come in there thinking, oh, a daycare show. They might realize a daycare show is easy to book, and so they'll come in there playing the loud music, or they'll come in there wanting to do, the break-in like fire tricks and crazy kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, who are we really selling here with the daycare show?
Well, basically, we're selling the show to the daycare director. Unlike a school show, you come into a school, you're dealing with the principal, the assistant principal. You may be dealing with the school librarian, the PTA, the PTO. But that's what makes the daycare so easy. You're generally dealing with one person, and that's the daycare director. Mm-hmm. So, and you just need to know, what buttons you got to press to get her interested in your show.
Now,
because, you're going to become the problem solver for her.
You are her problem solver.
Problem solver. You don't want to be the problem, because there's enough people that make it a problem for the daycare director. But if you come in there and you show them you got something special for them, you have something educational, you're going to solve her problem. She's looking to provide some really good entertainment for the children there, because she wants, the parents to know that, these people are paying good money to have their kids in that daycare. And what are they getting in return? So if you come in there and provide a wonderful program that these kids will be, talking about when they get home, oh, we had a great magician, it was so much fun, then the parents are going to really feel like they're getting value. So you're really solving a big problem for that daycare director.
Yeah. And the daycare directors, I mean, a lot of people, sometimes confuse them with a school principal and what a school principal is looking for. There actually is a difference, correct?
Yeah, there's a difference between a school principal and a daycare director. I mean, listen, a school principal, if you book in a school principal, they're all over the place. They have so many different duties to attend to. Where a daycare director, they're just worried about, that small group of children that they have in there, 50, 70 kids, rather than a school principal who has a few hundred kids that they have to contend with. And you're really not going to be on the top of the list when it comes to a school assembly program. But with a daycare director, you're going to solve her problem. She's looking to do something special for those 50 to 70 kids that are in there. Maybe maybe only 20 kids. It really depends upon the size of the daycares. But generally, it's a smaller niche to work, but that's what makes it easy. And if you have something special that you could bring in to make yourself stand out amongst all of the other entertainment, because they're not just dealing with magicians, they're dealing with the fun bus, they're dealing with the clowns, the puppet shows, all kinds of different things. But if you could bring in something different for them, that's the key. That's what's going to make you stand out amongst everybody else.
And would you also agree that it's easier to sell a daycare director with a show that you're selling to, obviously, daycare, preschool? I think we should also let me rewind a second. We want to preface this with the notion when you're selling to a daycare, we tend to call them daycares, but they really are preschools. A lot of them don't like to be called daycares.
Yes, good point, Brad. I really like that. It's true. I never call a daycare. Anytime I'm on the phone with them, and this is a good point, everybody should write this down. Anytime you're dealing with them, never call them a daycare. Most of them don't mind, I don't think, but I've had, now you understand, I have 25 years of experience performing in daycares and preschools. So anytime when I deal with them, I always call them a preschool, simply because the preschools, they don't really like to be labeled as a daycare. They don't want to think as a babysitting service. Some of them really take that on personally. And I've had them before say, we're not a daycare, we're a preschool. So when I learned early on.
They get very they get very upset.
Yes, it's so nice to tell you about my preschool show. So point taken there, folks. Just address them as a preschool, and it'll solve a lot of problems for you in the future.
And so what I started to say before I wanted to bring that quick little point up there is it's easier to book a daycare director or preschool director rather, because of really making sure that you're bringing them something of value, obviously, but when you're booking a program of this kind of a capacity, they're an easier to sell target, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they are easy to target. Like I said before, it's a smaller market to work, and generally you get into the decision maker a lot easier. I can't tell you how many times when I do my cold calls, for instance. We'll talk more about cold calling later. When I call up, a lot of times you do get in touch with the daycare director right away. So and it's great when you can get on the phone with them, or you send a mailing piece to them, and it ends up right in front of them on their desk. That's what makes it easier. It's not going through a whole bunch of channels like any other different markets that we work, where it's got to go on an A list, a B list, and then it's got to go to an assistant director, an assistant this, assistant principal, or in a school. Mm-hmm. It's generally you're getting right to the decision maker right away. That's what makes it easy. That's why I love daycares.
Yeah, and we've got some people chiming in here in the chat box. Dick says some even hate being called preschool. He says Montessori schools consider themselves actual schools.
Yeah, that's actually, if I could comment on that, it's actually a good point. Montessori schools, and I've had situations with them, they like to be known as basically a school. If you call them a preschool, and they do take offense to it, some of the Montessori schools, they're a little bit snobbish at times too. So you got to be careful with certain schools too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, generally, I haven't had problems with preschool, but the Montessori schools, you got to be a little bit more careful with.
Absolutely. Jim says daycares. He was thinking senior centers, and he said we have another question that's coming in from Andrew, which I think we'll address a little bit later on. But he wants to know about Andrew Turner wants to know about what's the valid fee range that directors will pay. We're going to save that for a little bit later on.
Absolutely, I'll talk about that too. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Sam.
Wide range,
yeah. And Sam Harden wants to know, I've had problems just getting in the door due to the fact that the daycares themselves are part of a national chain, and that they don't book me directly because everything has to come from the home office. So I don't know if you want to address that now, John, or if you want to.
Yeah, I'll address it real quick. When you're dealing with the chains, like here in Jersey, I deal with the Goddard schools is a really big thing. But the whole thing is, when you work hard, and you get in, once you get in, I have to tell you, you're going to get a lot of shows, because those directors, they're close. They have like monthly meetings, and they have annual conventions. They all get together. That's where they talk the talk, and that's where they're going to bring out your business card. That's where they're going to say, hey, we got to get this guy. This guy is the best. So Once you do break that barrier and you do get in there, the financial reward is going to be great because they're going to have you over and over again. The word is only going to spread. Where you may have the regular small home daycare, they're not really friendly with any other daycares. So yeah, you'll get the repeat booking from them, but they're really not going to spread the word. So you have to look at the positive side. Once you get in, they're going to spread the word, and you're going to have a lot of work. So look at it that way.
Yeah, good stuff there. We're gonna get into. I know Jeb has a couple of questions. They're gonna get into calling or mailers, which works best, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna get into
everything.
that. Yep, absolutely. Carl Lang said he lost our sound. Can we just do a double check, make sure you guys can hear me coming through loud and clear? It might just be an issue on Carl's end there, but yep. Okay, it's back now, Carl. All right, excellent. Thank you, guys.
Me? John Carlson speaking. You hear me too?
All right, excellent. Hey, I see we got Michael Bosniak. How you doing there, Mike? Was just with him last weekend in Capital Convention, and Jason Garcia too, coaching client. Awesome.
Hey, Mike. Long Island.
There we go. Awesome. So let's now segue into exactly what the daycare director is looking for, and this is something that, again, it comes into the psychology where, just like when you're booking birthday parties, you're really going after the birthday mom or the birthday dad. That's who is booking you. In the daycare world, it is, school, elementary school. Sometimes you're dealing with PTA president, the PTO president, the school principal, the school media specialist, the school librarian, school counselor. I mean, you could be dealing with so many different people. At daycares and preschools, Montessori schools, it's pretty much the director. That is it. So, John, what is she looking for?
She's basically looking for age-appropriate entertainment because, you get entertainers that go in there and sometimes they're doing a magic show like they're doing a birthday party show for, 10, 12-year-old kids with materials just going over the kids' heads. And, young children have a shorter attention span. So that's why you really need to do the colorful, visual type of stuff. You just got to use the age-appropriate entertainment where the kids are really going to understand they're going to sit there. And another thing, too, is the show length of the show. You don't want to go in there with a 45-minute, 1-hour show because you're going to lose the attention. It's not your fault. It's nature. Kids are younger. They have a shorter attention span. Okay? And the daycare directors, they're looking for somebody that's easy to work with. You want to be pleasant. You want to have a pleasant speaking voice on the phone with them. You want to be, if they want to change a date and they want to change a time, you don't want to be abrupt with them and go, oh, we already had this date in the book. I talk to entertainers where they're so contractual. Everything's got to be by the book. And let me tell you something. If you want them to have blue M&Ms, you want them to have the temperature water at 72 degrees, your bottle of water, forget it. You're not going to last long in the market. You got to be easy to work with. That's the key.
Yeah, most definitely. And of course, non-threatening. Again, you said the blue M&Ms and whatnot, but also that a lot of people worry about the contracts and very hard selling. I mean, in reality, you're dealing with a pretty simple operation.
Yeah, and the key here, Brad, is sometimes you do get a preschool where they do want something contractual. And if that's what they want, give it to them. If that's something they're used to, because you do have some daycare directors that that's just their personality. They have to have a signature. They have to have, everything by the book. They want to see insurance. They want to see this, that, and the other thing. Whatever they want, you give it to them. That's what's going to get you in the door, like we were saying before. That's what's going to get you back next year. Because let me tell you something, it's a gold mine. Daycares is a gold mine. You get in there, you come back, you do them next year, you do them year after year after year. I mean, it's great when I can go into a daycare and as I'm leaving, I can go, hey, Sally, I have my calendar here. Summer's coming up. You got your summer camp coming. Let's get something on the calendar. So basically, again, no hard selling, no fancy contract. They want to do something. A lot of times they'll just say, hey, I got you in the book. And I'll say to them, okay, Sally, I got you in the book here too. They may want you to fax over an invoice to them. It's simple. Attach an email to them. You'll be good. Okay? They're simple. All right? And they want someone that's going to work in with their budget. Now, let's talk about pricing here, Brad, because somebody mentioned before about pricing. And it can be all over the board. depending upon if you're in a rural area, if you're in, a tri-state area, a big city, the prices really do range. Generally, on average, for me here in New Jersey, I get anywhere between $250 to $350. I'm going to tell you exactly what I do, exactly what I charge, but somewhere in that range, depending upon the program, depending upon the daycare. The franchise ones like the Goddard School Kiddie Academies, generally they do have a bigger budget than the small little house daycare. But they do have a general budget, and sometimes that could work for you. Sometimes it could work against you. For instance, there's one particular in Paterson, New Jersey, one daycare. They call me up every before June because they have X amount of money in their budget they have to spend, and they'll actually tell me, "Hey, John, we have $2,000 in the budget. If we don't spend it by June, the end of June, we have to give it back to the county. So can you help us out?" What do you think I'm going to say? I'm not throwing that away. Yeah, sure. Maybe I have to go in and do 6 or 7 shows, but that's fine. I'll spend their money. But basically, they do have a general budget, and the better program that you have to offer, the more educational the program is, generally the budget gets a little bit bigger because they do have budgets for like the family fun type of thing, the after the end of the school day where they bring the families in, those are generally lower prices. But when you bring a good, solid educational program in, they generally do have different budgets for that type of stuff. But you have to work with them.
And speaking of, you said, when you bring in a good, solid educational show, we had a question come in here, quite a few questions. You guys are giving some really, really good questions here. George Patrick wants to know, with most of the daycare shows being 30 minutes, how much education can you give, and how do you teach children so that they understand? Is that something you want to talk about now, John, or you want to go into that a little bit later?
Absolutely. I'll hit on it right now. Generally, daycares are different. Preschools are different than a school assembly program. We have the older kids. And now, when you're doing like a magic show, for instance, at a school assembly, and Joe Romano happens to be really good with this, and a lot of, Ken Scott and a lot of the big school show guys, and Mike Tobias was on board here. They do a lot of really great school assembly programs for the older kids, and almost everything that you do has to be tied into that educational message. Daycares are different because you can, slap them in the face with as much educational stuff as you want, but younger children generally don't get it as much. So generally you want to entertain them and provide the educational message. So everything you do does not have, every trick that you do, every routine does not have to be all educational. So keep that in mind for the younger children. Okay.
Okay, excellent. And a question came in from Lori. Hey, Lori. She said, "Are you saying don't do contracts otherwise? And what is a fancy contract? What would you say about that, John?"
A fancy contract. So the question is, what is a fancy contract?
She's asking, I guess, a two-part question. Are you saying not to do contracts, period, or unless they ask for one? And the second part of it is, what would you consider to be a fancy contract?
A fancy contract to me is where you send them a contract to sign, and the contract says 1,000 things that they have to do in order for you to get there. For instance, the kids must be out. The show must. The kids have to be out 5 minutes before showtime. The showtime must start at exactly 10 a.m. If you're going to give them all kinds of rules and regulations to your show, to your program, you're going to scare them away with a fancy contract. So I understand there are some entertainers that are a little bit nervous about it, and maybe they're the type of person that wants to have some type of contract. All I'm saying is, be careful with it, because you don't want to scare them away. Generally, as a general rule, daycare preschool directors do not like contracts. They're generally happy with a fax invoice that simply says the date, the time, and what you're going to provide, and what the payment is.
Mm-hmm.
Make out the check too, all in the invoice, plain and simple. That's what they love seeing come across. And many times when I do my rebookings, they're like, "Hey, John, just fax us over that invoice. Fax us over that invoice." That's all I hear. Fax us over the invoice. Plain and simple. And you make it easy for them. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Hope that answered your question.
Absolutely. So let's move right in now to getting the gigs here. And this is a question that I know the answer to this, but I want to toss this out to John. And the funny part about this is that John, several times during his career, has literally been airdropped into, well, not exactly. It would be a bigger box than that, right, John?
Much bigger.
There we go. But
I love the
John
sound.
has been. It's actually, by the way, in case you guys saw the picture I just posted on Facebook here while the webinar is going on. We usually don't have the luxury of having guests on the webinar series here at MakeMagicMoney.com and the Magic Marketing Center. Have the luxury to have the guest here in the office with me, but because John is based here in New Jersey and he was actually doing a couple gigs up in northern Jersey at a daycare this morning, and then later on this evening. What was your gig tonight? It was
I actually just in Jersey City. Jersey.
Jersey Shitty.
Excuse me. Let's take that out of there. Well, in Jersey, it's that kind of town anyway. But I just did a birthday party in Jersey City. My good friend Jimmy Brown came along with me. We had some fun, did a nice show there, and we came straight from there right over to the office of MakeMagicMoney.com.
There you go.
Sitting next to the president himself. I feel so honored.
There you go. Yep, we're having dinner with Obama afterwards. So, but all joking aside, I know that John, several times during his career, was actually airdropped into
Oh, yeah.
several new marketplaces. In whether it was right after when he was on the force, he was actually in New York City. We didn't even give that detail about you, John, that you were actually a New York City police officer for 21 years,
Oh, yeah.
and you were also doing 250 shows a year part time while you were on the NYPD. And after you retired, after 21 years of service to New York City, you literally went into a brand new marketplace, the Poconos, Pennsylvania,
Yep.
and you did not have any existing ties over there. You did not have anything
Nope.
planned out, but the wife wanted to move out there, and you guys loved the area, and so you had family out there. So you started out totally fresh, and then a couple years later, again coming into Brick, New Jersey, which is where you currently reside. Again, starting out totally fresh. I remember you contacting me back in roughly 10 years ago, right around 2003, 2004, saying, "Hey, Brad Ross, I hear you're the guy in the kids family market in New Jersey, and wanted to do a little networking with you." And that's how we eventually became friends. But this would terrify. This would terrify most people because so many of us live in a particular marketplace where we've been established, even if at least some capacity. So let's pretend that someone had, no money to work with per se, or very limited resources, very limited
Sure.
contacts. What would you do if you literally were tossed into Tucson, Arizona today, or
Right.
Minneapolis, Minnesota with Dave? No, that's too cold. That's too cold. But what would you
Sure.
do if you were in a brand new marketplace?
Well, Brad, I mean, I've had experience with this, and sometimes you just have to be an action taker. And there's a lot of action takers that I know that are on this call. But when I got into a new market, I've worked several different markets.
Oh, and actually, that's our alert. We have hit actually 100 people on here so far. So so yeah, don't if you guys leave, or if your webinar, if it gets cut out, your spot, I guess there's a waiting room where the people will come into the webinar. But we have hit officially 100. So so
Wow.
don't leave, guys. Don't leave.
Well, I feel so honored to have this many people on. I want to really give you as much information as possible. So let's just say you're out there, you're on this call, and you just moved to a new place, and you work in a new market, or let's just say you're a birthday guy, and now you're like, hey, listen, I make some decent money on the weekend, but now I'm going to work Monday through Friday, and I'm going to get into the daycare market. What do I got to do? So let me just share my experiences with you. Anytime I work in a different market, like for instance, I'll tell you, when I went out to the Poconos, I'm an action taker. I started making up, getting postcards made up for daycares and sending them out to the daycare directors. I got on the phone. I made cold calls, introduced myself. Basically, that's what I did. I did a lot of action. I got on people's websites and, got email addresses, sent them emails, sent them faxes, anything and everything that I could do. And what's funny about it, just, a little quick story about this, but I even, anytime I go to a new market, I call up agents and say, hey, I introduce myself. A lot of different action things that I do. But in particular, I was with this local magic club, and it was funny because I was quickly dominating the market. When I went into the Poconos, I started dominating the whole Scranton area, the Pocono Mountains. And within a year, I was like, pretty busy. And I was at this match meeting. I was actually in the bathroom stall. This is just funny. I have to share this with you. And I had one magician who was in there talking realized I was in the stall. And he starts talking about me. He says, who is this guy, John Carlson? This freaking guy is taking over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's just to say, listen, a lot of these guys, they don't take action. They cry, they moan, I got no work, because they're not doing nothing. They're not getting the postcards made up. They're not sending out press releases. They're not, they're not doing the things that you need to do to become successful. It's basic. And
oh, sorry, the toilet. That was the toilet flushing there, John.
Oh, okay, I get it. All right. So basically, if you're getting airdropped into a new market, Brad's having fun with his sound effects. He's having too much fun. But if you're going to be airdropped into a new market, man, you just got to work at it. Have fun doing it. Don't make it seem like it's a task, like it's like, oh, I got to do this. Make it a challenge, If you're getting on the phone and you're making a cold call to a daycare director, you're introducing yourself and you have your phone script with you, and when you book that show, you're going to feel so good about yourself. I can't tell you that it's like a natural high. I don't know if any of you were like those thrill seekers, roller coasters, jumping out of a plane. But man, when I work hard and I get good results and I send out a good mailing and I got people calling me, that's my high. I love it. I just really enjoy the marketing part of it.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Here's a couple questions that have come in here, and I'm trying to take the ones that are most appropriate. You guys are putting in some great questions. Here's a question from Margaret. Hey, Margaret. I met Margaret this past weekend at Capital Convention. She says, how often do you get booked per year by the same daycare?
Well, that really depends upon, generally I would say most of my daycares book me twice a year. Generally, during the regular school year, I'll have one of my educational programs. And then during the summer, they'll bring me in for the younger kids, and usually, sometimes even 2 shows in a day during the summertime for the because they bring in the school-age kids for the most daycares and preschools have a regular day camp during the summertime. So it's really great. Once you get in and you do the show during the year, you bring them an educational program that they love, bragging about to the parents. Then summertime comes, they may be getting mailings from other entertainers, but you already got the in. So you're going to book that summer show. So I would say probably 2 to 3 shows a year. And, the more educational programs you have, you could actually, I know there are some guys that are strictly daycare guys. I know Tom McDonald from Philadelphia area. That guy's got some killer educational programs, and he's in the daycares in the whole Philly market, and he's constantly going back with a bunch of different daycares. So to answer your question, you can, as many different programs as you have, you can open up more doors for the opportunity of coming back over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely here, absolutely. So what I want to do here is I want to segue into to getting the gigs here, getting into the psychology of the daycare director, because a lot of folks are asking questions. In fact, there's another great question from Lori. She said, with directors being so overwhelmed by entertainers, obviously that's something that is Lori's in Minnesota, so she's in a pretty big city, I think, and obviously here in Jersey we have tons of entertainers, magicians, ventriloquists, clowns, so on and so forth, wanting to book the daycare shows, and I think any well-populated city is going to have this. But Lori says, with directors being overwhelmed by entertainers, what is a good opening line when you introduce yourself to set yourself apart? And I'm assuming she means maybe on a cold call, we're going to get into cold calls here in a little bit.
We're going to talk about a little bit about cold calls, but you want to set yourself. What's going to set you apart from everybody else? I have to say it is the website. And anytime I do an introduction to a daycare director, I give them my name, what my program's about. I don't make it long and lengthy, and, daycare directors, they got things to do. So if you catch your attention, make it quick, make it short, and just make a statement to them. This is me. This is what I do. Here is my website. And, guys, just so you know, too, we're talking about websites really quick. I'm not going to go into length about this. This could be a whole webinar on websites, but you should have a niche-specific website. Like mine, for instance, is preschoolmagic.com. So you should have maybe your name, preschool, whatever. Come up some kind of variation. You don't want to give me a birthday party website, with you and this birthday kid with a hat on, because it's sort of going to steer you in the wrong direction. So basically, if you have a niche-specific website, That's going to make you stand out amongst a lot of the other guys. Because a lot of the other people that are out there, they're giving them their general website, which has them maybe doing hypnosis or doing strolling magic, card magic. They're going to see you fanning out at deck cards. They're going to go, listen, it's like 3-year-old kid's not going to get a card trick. That's the idea. So you want to have a niche-specific website. That's pretty much what's going to make you stand out. And, of course, your educational programs. That's going to make you stand out, too. Because too many people are going in there with just for fun shows. Hey, I'm a great magician. I can make the kids laugh and have fun. That's all good. Bring them something educational. You're going to hit a home run.
So let's get into the psychology of the daycare director, John.
Sure. Yeah, daycare directors, you have to understand, too, daycare directors, all right, first of all, now, I'm not going to be a male chauvinist here, so I just want to, don't write in, okay, don't send any kind of nasty emails. Basically, a daycare director.
We don't want to get any phone calls on this, John.
Oh, they're calling in already. Oh, my God, I'm starting some trouble here. Good thing my wife's not on this call. Anyway, that's another story, too. But anyway, a daycare director is a female. Now, the male and the female gender, we're different, okay? When it comes to buying things, generally, a female buys more emotionally. Males tend to be a little bit more logical. It's like when we go shopping, for instance. We know exactly what we want. We'll go into the store, okay? We'll go right to the aisle. We'll pick out exactly what we need. We'll be out of there in 10 minutes. We're a woman, and I guess, listen, I have 2 daughters, okay? I have a wife, and when I go shopping at the mall with them, my God, I'll be in there forever.
John, I shop at the mall for a long time. What are you trying to say?
No comment. I'm not going to the mall with you. Put it that way. All right. Especially if you're with my wife and my 2 daughters. But generally, you're dealing 99% of the time with a female, so you have to touch the emotional buttons. Okay, that's the key, because you're not dealing with all logic. And I'm not saying that a female is not logical, but a lot of times if you, as a salesperson, because let's face it, everybody on this call, we're all selling something to them. So we have to use some sales techniques, some sales psychology, to touch the emotional buttons. And if you touch the right ones at the right time, you're going to get the sale. You're going to be in the daycare, and you're going to be doing the show.
Yeah. So who will you market to in general, aka the list? We've talked about the director, getting into the psychology of the director, but let's talk about the list, because that's really where we, when people say, how do I get into daycares? I mean, this is marketing. I mean, that's a theme of mine. What works in other markets is going to work in your market, and sometimes it's going to work better when we learn things, from other markets. That stuff works better in our world of variety entertainment. And by the way, what we're talking about here tonight, this is not limited to magicians. We have clowns on here. We've got balloon twisters. We've got face painters. We've got ventriloquists. We have the gamut on here tonight. Puppeteers. The reality is that marketing is marketing. So when we talk about the list, any good business, the success of any good business, I believe at least, is that the lifeblood of the business is in the list, and that's who you're able to market to. So let's talk, John, a little bit about your list and gathering a list and everything that goes into that.
Well, there's several ways that you can gather a list. I mean, there are so many list companies that are online. I mean, years ago, Brad, I remember to get a list was like death. You couldn't really find a good list company. And if you thought you had a good list company, you do a mailings, and half of the mailings return. You're like, oh my God, I spent all this money on this mailing, and 50% of them are coming back to me that cannot be found. So generally, there are some really good, legitimate companies online that you can find, like Info USA. That could be a whole other webinar on list companies. And if you don't have the money to buy a list, let me tell you something. Do what I did. Anytime I broke into a new market, I would just open up my software program, and I would enter them in. I'd go and look in my general. I would start with a small area, generally within like maybe a 10-mile radius to my home, and I would find websites and find email addresses, and I would actually do it physically, type it in. Let me tell you something, slave labor, my kids working for me.
There you go.
Let me tell you something. I mean, my kids now, they're all grown up. I have grandchildren now. But they look back to times, they're like, Dad, I remember the times that we, typed in things for you. And they were in high school, and, they just made extra money. Paid them $10 an hour. They could have worked somewhere else for maybe $3 or $4 an hour, but they were getting pay good money to do it. And there's just so many things you could outsource, so many things online too. But the list is really not as hard as it used to be. But the thing is, when you get the list, is sending out the appropriate material. That's the big thing to getting the gig. Sending the thing that's going to, hit the emotional button. When a daycare director sees that postcard coming across that desk right in front of them, are you going to stand out amongst all the other entertainment that they're getting? Do you have something special, really special, to offer that daycare director that they haven't seen before? Or maybe they have seen before, but just was no good. You want to bring them something that's really going to be professional and is going to be organized, and they're really, you're going to be the pro.
Absolutely.
Timing of mailings. Let me tell you something about timing of mailings. The more, the better. That's my secret. Okay, I remember years ago when I got into marketing, and I would send out a mailing. All right, and I know many of the people on this call have experienced this. You send out a mailing, and then you're like, okay, it should have gotten there 2-3 days. You're in your office, and you're scratching your head, and you're actually looking at the phone. You're staring at the phone, and through osmosis, you're trying to get that phone to ring, and it's just not happening. Listen, the thing is, mailings is to be repetitive. Is to, as far as the timings go, you want to send them out different times of the year. If you're doing a summer mailing, you generally want to send it. You should be sending stuff out in the mail now, right now for the summer. Years ago the thing was, 60 days ahead of time. No, let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many of the daycares that I work that have had me last summer that are calling me right now. Today, this morning, after I came home from my daycare show, I booked about 2 or 3 shows for this summer. So take that into consideration. Book ahead of time. And when you're doing the mailings, do it over and over and over again. If you're starting in a new market, and don't be disappointed if you send out a letter, you send out a brochure, you send out a postcard, whatever you're sending them, and you don't get the call. I can't tell you how many times a daycare director has told me, called me on the phone and said, hey, Mr. Carlson, we just got kind of sick of getting your mailings. And we've had people that we've been working with for a while, but, we checked out the website, you've been mailing us this postcard, we got a letter from you. You seem like, a real professional, so we want to try out this time. And, if you do a really good job and you have a really good program, we'll definitely have you back again. And that's how you get in. So
that's key.
Do it over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously how frequently, again, it's coming up with, the, giving what we call in marketing touches. And this actually came up over the weekend at Capital Convention on a panel that I was on with Louis Meyer, the producer of Capital Convention, Lori Hurley from Minnesota, and David Farr from Minnesota, and myself. We were on a lunch and learn panel. And one of the questions came up about touching, how often should you be mailing out to your customers? Again, whatever area, we're talking about, whether it's daycares or other aspects of your business, and your list is dictating how often you should be mailing out to them, you should be touching them. In my opinion, you should be touching your customers or whatever market you're really trying to work in at least once a month, if not more. In a market like trying to book summer shows for the daycare, you would create a marketing campaign for that, where you're sending out a lead generation mailer, whether it's a postcard or a sales letter, maybe with a fax back form, something along those lines, postcards, and you want to do that several times. I almost want to go out on a limb and say, if you cannot afford to be sending out more than one mail piece, don't bother at all. Go hand deliver them, because you can't rely on one postcard and expect to get tons and tons of bookings. Now, it's not to say that by sending out one thing you couldn't get interest, but you really want to do it multiple times in a particular mail campaign.
Right. And Brad, if I could interrupt, you can say something about hand delivery. Okay, hand delivery. I love that, because that is what I do. I know some of you are shaking your head, hand delivery, and you said that it's sort of like a joke. But believe it or not, when I'm doing birthday parties on the weekend, now this is a little technique, you guys write it down because it works. Daycares, preschools are closed on weekends. A lot of you guys are birthday guys. Or maybe you're just out shopping with the wife. Let her run into the mall by herself. She's going to be in there for 4 hours anyway.
Or if you're shopping with me.
Right, or shopping with Brad, exactly. So Brad will take him to lunch. But anyway, you're sitting in the car, you got your GPS, Type in preschools and daycares. You're going to see them pop up all over the place. This is what I do. Inside my glove compartment, I have an envelope with reference letters, my brochure, my educational programs, and on it I have it written, handwritten, hand delivery. Now, that impresses daycare directors. So what I do is, I got my GPS, I press go to this location, I go to that location. It's closed. It's non-confrontational. If you're one of those people who are uncomfortable approaching people, let me tell you something. Put it right in their mailbox, hand delivery. Monday comes, you're going to get it. Wow, this guy actually stopped by here physically. There's no stamp on here. They're going to open, they're going to be impressed by it. Little technique, guys, so use it.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, that is really, really good there. The next thing I want to you to address is I want you to talk about online versus offline. Obviously, we know that in today's world, everything is online. We're all online. In fact, this is so cool that we have the power of the internet to connect literally with people all over the country, and we have people in other countries. We've got some folks in England joining us. We've got someone all the way out in New Zealand joining us here this evening. We've got lots of people all over the world. And the really cool thing about online is that it's free in most cases, the marketing that you do online. Offline tends to be a little bit more expensive. Again, going out, spending some time, whether it's an investment of time, driving around, dropping some stuff off at daycares to create that impact of hand delivered, mailing things out as our postage is getting more expensive. We're up to 48 cents. I mean, I remember doing mailings, when I was in high school, and it was like 32 cents to mail something out. And it's like, man, we're 48 cents. Before you know it, a couple years, it's going to be like $1 to mail something out. But you get a better impact when you do things offline. What's your opinion on that, John?
Yeah, my opinion is do offline, do online, do it all. I mean, listen, you're in business, and I have to say one thing, Brad, is many times, when I go to conventions, I see a lot of these, entertainers, particularly magicians. They'll be at every single table buying every prop, everything that they can for their show because they want to make their show better. And then when it comes to marketing stuff, and I've actually heard guys say, oh, marketing stuff, these are the same guys that are whining and crying, I got no shows, I got no shows, I got no shows. Marketing is marketing. You need to do it. You're in business. You have to make an investment, whether it be financial or whether it be basically just getting off your butt and doing something about it. I can't tell you how many times at night I'll go on the computer, I'll look up daycares and preschools, I'll see their emails, I'll enter that in, I'll send an email out, I'll do my fax back forms at nighttime. Listen, you're not interrupting anybody. Send out a fax back form for them. Are they interested in getting more information about the educational program that you provide? You'll be surprised. Come Monday, come the next day, you'll see something back faxed to you with their information. They are interested. So you didn't have any real connection with them, but you know what? That's the end. That's, you're getting the end to pursue it even further. So you have to do both. You have to do your mailings. You have to do your website. You have to do the emails, the faxes. You have to do the phone calls. Get on the phone and call them. Do not be afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of everything. You mentioned earlier, John, about niche-specific websites, so you've talked a little bit about that before, so we'll kind of skip over that one. I want to get into a little bit more phone calls versus cold calls. This is a very hot topic. Neil asked a question earlier about cold calls. He says he hates doing them. Lori had asked that question about intros there and so on and so forth. And a lot of people are just really, really scared of getting on the phone, calling someone up. In fact, I had a coaching client in my private success coaching program that he had basically he said to me, this was several months back, maybe about 6 months ago, and he said, his corporate work had really dried up, and he didn't know what to go about doing. And he said, he'll do a daycare show or a birthday party, if he has to, but he doesn't really enjoy doing them, and the corporate work is really tough to come by in his particular marketplace right now. And he said, he's considered doing daycares, but he's just deathly afraid of doing cold calls. And of course, afterwards, I kind of broke it down. We created a phone script for him. What's your approach about doing cold calls, John? I mean, you mentioned it a few minutes ago, and you said get on the phone and start calling around. What's some advice that you can give? Obviously, we know that you're a fan of doing that, and it's not that you necessarily love doing cold calls yourself, but it's just it's something that has to be done. In the process, it's like driving to the gig. We all love doing the gig, whether we're designing beautiful balloon sculptures, or we're doing magic shows, or puppet shows, or whatever we're doing. We love doing the gig. Does it mean we love getting in the car and driving through the snowstorm like we're going to get here in the Northeast tomorrow? But it's part of the job. So my thing, and then I want to hear your take, is my thing is, if that's part of what we have to do, you're in business to do business. You're in business to make money. We're not always going to love every single aspect of doing business, but sometimes, let's be honest, we're all adults here. We have to get up off of our ass and we have to do something, because there is no pit bull of a boss breathing down our neck that's going to give us the plan and hand us a bunch of shows. It's not going to happen like that. If that's what you want, give up this field and go get a 9-to-5 job, and that's what you will get. Someone saying, do this, do that, and you never have to worry about it. But if you want to be the entrepreneur and you want to live the entertainer entrepreneurial lifestyle where the amount of money that you make is unlimited because you can always go out and make more money, then you need to sometimes do things that are not your favorite. So, John, what do you suggest about cold calling?
Cold calling, I'm going to tell you how I started with cold calling. Let me tell you my story. But first of all, for those of you who are nervous about doing it, that's okay. That's perfectly natural. Most people feel that way. 99% of the people feel that way. Listen, think about the time that you first got up and did your performance. Whether you started out as a kid, whether you started out in your early 20s, whenever you did your first performance, how did you feel? Did you feel nervous? Did you have sweaty palms? Were you rushing through your routine, maybe? I remember when I was 12 years old, I did my first show at a library. I flew through the routine because the first time I walked out to the audience there, I had that stage fright. I was like scared out of my wits and swore I'd never do it again. You know what? Cold calling? You don't have an audience in front of you. You have a phone in front of you. Yeah, you're going to be nervous, but that's okay. But let me tell you something. I haven't jumped out of a plane yet, and I'm looking to do it, but I probably could, use that as a metaphor, so to speak. You get nervous, you're jumping out of a plane, and you hear everybody talk about, wow, once you're out there and you make that jump and you land and the parachute opens and the beauty of it, the same thing with making the cold calls. Once you get on and you're doing the calls, and you have people that are actually like listening to you and they're really interested in what you have to say, and they end up, booking shows for you, it's going to be like, wow, you're going to be excited. You're going to have that adrenaline rush when you actually do book shows. But to tell you how I started out, and I'm going to make this a whole real long story, but when I was in the Poconos and we decided to, my wife wanted to go away to Florida for a month. She says, I got to get out of here. We had a really bad winter. Let's go to Florida. I said, listen, honey, I got to work. I can't, just go down to Florida for a month and not work. So she wanted to go to Disney World, take the kids and everything. I said, but you know what? I got a really good idea. How about if I get on the phone and make some calls to some daycare? She was kind of like, she had a negative attitude about it. Get on the phone and you're not going to do that, And I said, well, listen, what do we have to lose? I'll try it. If it doesn't work, we won't go away for a month. Maybe we'll just do something locally. Well, let me tell you something. I wrote myself a phone script, and I got on and I called the daycare directors. And I remember when I first did it, I had that knot in my stomach, the lump in my throat. But once I got through some calls and I got some interest, could you send me some stuff? And there's a whole bunch of techniques that have evolved from it, from doing all the wrong stuff initially. But once I got really good at it, it was like, I sat there like I was like, whoa, this is really good. I look forward to doing it because, it wasn't so much a challenge anymore, but it was having that financial, advantage of getting more and more bookings. So anyway, what happened was, for the month of July, I booked in Florida 27 shows. And it was really great because we went down, we rented a house, I would actually drive my kids, drop them off at one of the parks, at Disney parks, and then I would, go do the shows, go back and pick them up again, and, go to the park, have some fun with them. But I booked 27 shows during the month of July. I actually sent out a good press release, too. While I was down there, really got a nice article in the Orlando Sentinel for the program that I was offering at daycares. So the cold calling really, really works. I still do cold calling. I love to do it to keep sharp. And just as a little tip, for those of you who are on the call who are really like, no way. There's no way I'm going to do it? Guess what? I have something, a simple solution I'd like to share with you. Get on Craigslist. There are a lot of moms, maybe single moms, maybe moms who are looking to make extra money. You'll actually find some people who have worked in boiler room operations who have done this stuff before. Put an ad on there. Say, I'm looking for somebody to make cold calls to daycare directors and book shows for me. And I still do it to this day. I have people call daycare directors and tell them about my show, and for every show that they book, or if they lead to a show that gets, because sometimes I'll do the follow up on it and close the deal, they get a $50 commission. That's perfect. Hey, listen, if you can get somebody else to outsource some of it and do it, cold calling really is a good tool. So please, I beg you, do not overlook the cold calling.
In fact, Greg Phillips chimed in the chat box and he said, "I've hired a girl who loves phone sales, and she calls she calls as my secretary, specifically daycares, and she mentions me in the script and how I'm so busy that that's why she's calling for me, and so it's exactly like John said. Greg Phillips is doing the same type of thing, and there is a website. Personally, I have not. I've done the same thing that John has had, and I've hired moms in the neighborhood. I mean, years ago when I was working the local market a lot, I live in a community of townhouses here in North Jersey, and I put up a thing in the community because we have about 100 townhomes in our little development here, and I put up a thing by the mailboxes where everybody goes. There's a couple different banks of mailboxes, and I put up a thing, hey, looking for someone to do some phone sales and some virtual assistant type stuff, and they didn't even need to come over to my office, even though they literally were in the same complex. They didn't even need to come over to my office, and I hired a couple of moms to do that. There's also a website that I've not personally used. I want to say it's stayathomemoms.com, and it's kind of like if you do just a Google search on stayathomemoms.com, you should be able to find which website I'm talking about. Again, I haven't personally used it, but I know other folks have, and it's a way to get, again, moms that are just looking to make some extra money. And again, we're keeping it simple. You're not talking to a Fortune 500 company. You're talking to a daycare director that's running a daycare. Maybe they've got 100 kids in the school total. And so chances are she's going to be a mom, or if it's a daycare director that's a male, he's going to be a dad, or so on and so forth.
But here's the key with that, Brad.
Yeah.
It's very important, though, when you set down to do cold calling, make sure when you write out a script that you write something out that's going to touch those.
Having an assistant script, an assistant phone script.
Yeah, you want to send them an email. If they're going to start making phone calls for you, you don't want them to say just blot out, this is all the features of the show. You want basically to have a phone script that's going to have the benefits of the show. With the daycare directors, her antennas are going to go sky high. Up in the air, and she's gonna, wow, this is something that I really, really would love to have in my school.
Yep.
And if you have a phone script that's laid out that way, perfect for her, and she doesn't have, and you don't want them to read it verbatim. You want to tell them to put their own personality into the phone call. But just as long as they stay on the main points and touch the emotional buttons that the daycare directors are going to really want.
And obviously, you want to take some time. If you're going to do this, you want to make sure that don't just we're saying get out there, do the cold calling. Don't do it unprepared though. That's not what we're endorsing here. Is saying hey, tomorrow go out there and just start calling people and get on the other end of the phone and go and not know what to say. You want to take when you're doing this, again, marketing is marketing is marketing. The two things that you want to take some time planning before you start doing the cold calling is, number one, you want to, if you're going to give it to someone else to do, if literally you are just too busy to do it, or you really are not good on the phone, because let's be honest, there are some people that are just not good on the phone, and that's fine. If you're going to hire someone to do it, you want to screen them properly, and you want to find people that are going to have that bubbly personality, sound good. Don't just hire the first person that's willing to work for $10 an hour or $7 an hour, whatever it is that you're willing to pay them, or based on the commissions, whatever you're going to pay them. Make sure it's someone that's going to sound good. And second, take the time, like John said, with the script, the assistant or secretary phone script. Make sure you are pointing everything out in there. Address the objections that may happen. Really figure out what you want their goal to be, because you're going to be training this person to do this for you. If you're doing it, great. You still have to write it all out, know what the objections are. So again, you're not caught on the other end of the phone when someone says, "Oh boy, how come you're so expensive?" And you're, well, it's a great magic show. Okay, it doesn't prove why you're so expensive. So you want to take some time to really, really plan that out for you.
And what's great about it too, Brad, is when you do like a lot the assistants that I use, I can't tell you how many times they'll call me up and say, "Listen, you got to call this lady today. She's very interested in this program that you're offering, and she wants to speak to you. She didn't really want to speak to me." I can't tell you, that is like a home. That's like a grand slam. When your assistant that you hire does that, you know when you call that person that there's not going to be any objections. They already know about the program you're providing, and it's going to be boom, lock it in. Let's get a date on the calendar.
Yep, that is it. So moving into this next section, the big question. Why should people hire you? That's the big thing, and this is
why.
And this was brought up earlier. Lori's got some. Lori's, she's cheating a little bit because she's such a great marketer herself. So she's asking all some really, really great questions.
I love the questions.
And Lori had mentioned earlier, how do you deal with areas that are very heavily populated? Because we all know those people that are aware that daycares book easily will often try and book in daycares, but they are often sometimes muddying the water of the daycare market, shall we say, and they're actually screwing it up for everyone else because they go in there with a bad show. And that, that always, when you have a quality show, someone else is kind of ruining it for you. So let's get into some of the areas of why people should hire you. And these are really techniques for what you should be doing so people should hire you. And the first one is testimonials.
Yeah, you are only good at your testimonials, and you really need to get the daycare directors. I'm really big into video testimonials. The time that I'm leaving the daycare, I'll walk right up to them with my cell phone video, and they're excited, And a lot of times, what happens is the daycare directors, they may not. A lot of times, the first time they hire you, they'll come see your show. But sometimes they're very busy, and they have their people that are reporting to them. You know who they are? Those are the teachers. The teachers are going back at the end of the show. Wow, this guy was really good. We got to have this guy back again. And many times my testimonials will start out with all the teachers. I can't tell you how many times. All the teachers love the show. The teachers said, we have to have you back again. So you want to get a good testimonial. You want to get letters from them that you can send out in print, and you want to get video testimonials. So that's very, very important.
And this is all what we consider to be social proof. In the world of
social
marketing.
Proof. Yeah, social proof can be, not just testimonials, but newspaper articles, reference letters. You could send out basically a self-addressed stamped envelope with a form that says, what did you think about the show? And it makes it easy for them. They stamp on the envelope already, and they'll write a few lines what they thought about the show, send it back to you. So that's just another tool. Anytime you get into, a daycare and you're providing a good educational program, you can get some good press, save those newspaper clippings for future bookings.
Yep.
Anytime you get in the news on TV with a good educational program, again, that's all part of the social proof. If you can get audio, video tests, whatever you like, that's what you need to do. Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. What we want to talk about now, John, is something that may be pretty new to a lot of folks, and that's sponsorships. This is something that, we all hear about athletes being sponsored, and we hear about, endorsements, celebrity endorsements, things like that. Let's talk a little bit about partners and sponsorships as it relates to the world of daycares. And is that something that's possible to do, that you could actually go to a daycare, try and sell them a show, maybe at a pretty decent amount of money, and they actually don't have to pay a dime. The director's ears perk up, and all of a sudden they are interested in doing business with you.
Yeah, and what's really great about that, Brad, is if they hear the word free, if they hear the word so-and-so ABC company around the corner is paying for this educational program, it's like, wow, really? They love it. They love the idea of bringing in a free program. So it's just another tool that you could use, is getting a local business to sponsor your educational program that you're bringing into the daycare and the preschool. It's just going to make it easier for you to get the show. And I got to tell you, sometimes you're dealing with limited budget, so to speak, okay, for the daycare directors they may have. But, you approach a business, with an educational program that they're willing to pay for. Generally, they're going to pay more money for it. But, business, let's face it, a local business, their customers are those kids' parents, and how are they going to get those kids' parents to do business with them? By providing that educational program. Okay, it's community. It's a matter of working together. It's referrals. It's that sponsorship is really, really something that is so often overlooked and underutilized by the entertainment industry, especially in daycares. Who would think, all right, maybe a school, maybe a big, a big event, but in a daycare. And let me tell you something, there are plenty of businesses that are out there that are willing to pay you to go in and provide an educational program. Because you know what? It's going to make them look good. They're going to get some advertisement. It's going to basically be some inexpensive advertisement for them. They're always advertising. They're always looking for new ways. So sponsorship is really a great tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So really, really good stuff here. A lot of times people want to know, is there an easier way? Is there a shortcut? And obviously a lot of times there's not. But what if we could take the guesswork away from creating an easy to sell, guaranteed successful show? We want to introduce you guys to program here that John has been doing now for over 25 years, and it's called the Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show. Tell us a little bit about the Stranger Danger Safety Show, John.
This is a program, the Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show, I've been doing for 25 years now. It's sort of been my top secret show. It's been a show that for many years that my competitors never knew about. I never wanted to really let anybody know because I didn't really want anybody to come up with a copycat type of thing. It's something that when you bring this program up to the daycares, when you just mention those words, stranger danger, safety, I have to tell you, the ears perk up. They want to listen. You could tell them that you have a dental show. You could tell them that you have an I Love to Read show or whatever kind of show, an exercise program, whatever it is. But you say the word stranger danger and safety, you're going to catch their attention. And this is something that has been very successful for me, that I've been doing for many, many years. And I built this program over and over again. And the daycare directors love it because, they really do care about the kids. Let's face it, they wouldn't be in a daycare business if they didn't love children. But more importantly, they are in business. And that makes it important if they could bring something educational and something that they could show the parents of their children that they're bringing something special, that their parents are paying good money to have their kids for, then it works better for everybody. And the main theme is here is keeping those kids safe. And if you can bring in that Stranger Danger program to help keep their kids safe, all the more, you're going to get booked a lot easier.
Yep. And yes, we do know that the word safety is spelled in this particular slide there. Yes, this is the Safety Show. It's a different version than the Safety Show, but that is actually it's an old graphic that's in this particular. We grabbed the wrong graphic, the incorrect spelled graphic, but in John's program and on his banners and everything, it is spelled correctly. Don't worry about that. But we want to really announce to you guys tonight, because this is the first time that John is actually going to be releasing a license to his Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show. And what you guys are going to be able to get with this done-for-you show in a box is the full non-transferable performance rights of the Stranger Danger Show. This means that it's not a program that you can purchase and then give to your friends. You are actually receiving this as you are receiving the exclusive license, one of the exclusive licenses that we're making available for a very limited time to offer this program in your particular market. You are going to be receiving a full live performance DVD at a daycare where John actually performs the full Stranger Danger Safety Show for you guys. A CD-ROM full of all of the copyright materials, copyright-free marketing materials, and a 30-minute consultation coaching strategy session called With John Carlson. So, John, tell them a little bit again about what this show is all about and why this is such a great show to offer, whether you're doing daycares currently or you're not doing daycares and you're looking to get into daycares and preschools. Why is this show such a great tool, a great show to add into your arsenal to break into the daycare market?
Well, before we talk about the emotional buttons of a daycare director, and everybody gets emotional when you talk about children's safety, because we hear all the horror stories about kids being kidnapped. We hear all about these things that kids face. You can type on YouTube 911 calls, and you can see how many 911 calls. These young kids who actually dialed the number 911 and saved their mother's life, saved their own life, whatever it was. So here, this is very, very emotional. That's why it becomes successful. You're bringing them an educational program that's going to teach them about personal safety. And this program doesn't just talk about strangers. It talks about, what a stranger is, what a stranger looks like. It talks about calling 911, what to do if they get lost. So there's a lot of different safety features that are taught in this program, in this show. And the daycare directors, they eat it right up because they know that when they tell the parents that they're providing this program, I mean, even the parents, I can't tell you how many times the daycare directors told me, oh, wow, parents are so happy that they had this program. We've never had a program like this before. And that's the key. You're going to provide them with a program that no one is doing.
And it's a turnkey program, John, because you're providing everyone with all the hard work that you've already done, and you've been doing this show, again, for over 25 years.
Yeah, let me just tell you, Brad, when I was in the police department, I worked in the SPECTRA program, school program to educate and control drug abuse. But they took advantage of my talent as a ventriloquist and a magician, and they sent me to assembly programs. We had different police officers doing assembly programs for different ages. We'd have, the older kids, they would talk about drugs, but my main function was to talk to the younger kids about calling 911, about what to do if they got lost, all about strangers. So basically, this was, many, many years of, in the beginning when I first started it, I didn't really know what to do. And it was trial and error, putting this together, see what worked, see what kids reacted to. So this is something that's been built up many, many years, and it's on a silver platter right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's take a little bit of a closer look here into what are the materials that you're going to get to promote this. The show itself is really, really easy to do, and you get obviously the full performance rights of the show. You're going to get the performance DVD. You're going to get the transcript, the script of the show, so you can take John's material that he does in the show and do it. There's really three main tricks that illustrate the biggest safety points, and then you can fill in the rest of the show with material you already have, because in this market, you don't want to make it too educational. You want to make it, obviously, you want a couple of messages, the three messages to really drive home to the kids so they leave remembering the key points, the key messages. And then the rest of the show, you want to make sure that, the kids are having fun. And in a 30-minute show, there's only so much time that you have. So there's really three main effects that you do. And then again, you could fill in the rest of the time with some of your favorite things. But as far as the marketing materials go, this is the part that's always the toughest to create. John is giving you turnkey tools. He's getting postcards that you're able to be customized, in a minute. Very, very easy in Microsoft Word. A send ahead poster. This, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is an awesome thing. Sending it ahead when you book the show to allow the daycare director to post it up around the preschool or the daycare.
Yeah, the daycare director loves having the poster up there because it's almost like they're bragging to the parents, like, oh, look what we're doing for your kids. Because let's face it, parents are dropping their kids off every morning, and they walk into that hallway and they see that poster up, Stranger Danger Kid Safety Show with that little superhero guy. They know that daycare is doing something special to keep their kids safe.
Absolutely.
Emotional buttons all around.
And the reason, when we say emotional buttons, we're not exploiting personal safety at all. People buy because of emotions, and this is a show. That's why this is a guaranteed seller to daycares and preschools, because they want to do something good for their students, and you have something that you're offering that's going to generate a great feeling that they're helping kids educate themselves and families educate themselves on personal safety, which is something every single kid needs to know. And if you're able to do it as an entertainer and you're not doing something like that, just the same reason we do, I Love to Read programs or any of those type of educational programs, it's our duty as a presenter that works in the daycares, preschools, elementary schools, any of those kind of markets. It's your duty to help educate and inspire kids. And in this case, this is a perfect example. No one else, to the best of our knowledge, does a show like this, and no one has ever released this on a, this is a show that was created specifically by John.
If we are doing a show like this, Brad, it's not as good as this. And I'm not bragging, I'm not patting myself on the back.
And you approach this as a 21-year retired New York City cop. So you're approaching this from a legal standpoint, and you guys, by the way, are able to say it's not a bad thing to say this program is licensed by a former New York City police officer. That's actually a selling point.
It really is. it is a big selling tool. You talk about me and tell them about this was designed by a New York City police officer who's been doing this in a school program for about 20 years, and it's gonna give you some credibility. Credibility is very, very important when you're providing an educational program.
Absolutely. And you guys are Neil Bacon had commented that he loves the artwork, and don't worry, again, the artwork is spelled properly. It's not the Safety Show, it's the Safety Show. But you guys are going to be getting the rights to use the show logo as well as the variation logo. You're going to get letters to the parent, a letterhead. You're going to get the fax back forms.
The letter to the parents is really big. I can't tell you how many times daycare director will say to me on the phone, when I tell you part of this program is you're going to get a letter to the parents. Now, the way that works is, you bring in a stack of letters, you have them pre-printed, and the letter is written really, really well, really professional. They send it home with the kids. The parents go, wow, my child had this. They love it. They know that the daycare director really cares about their child, and they're doing something special. But guess what? There's another benefit to that with the letter parents. You do birthday parties and stuff. They're going to be calling for birthday parties, too. So it's another cross-marketing technique. But the main thing is letting the parents know that daycare directors love the fact that you're letting the parents know that they're doing something special.
And this is something just to remember also. Betty had asked this, Betty Moore. This is not just for magicians. I mean, there's...
No. You see, I'm also a ventriloquist, so I do things with puppets, too. But the main thing is you're doing whatever program. As an entertainer, what do we do? Entertainment equals fun, right? It equals fun. So whether you're a storyteller, whether you're a balloon sculpture artist, whether you're a ventriloquist, puppeteer, juggler, no matter what, you can work this message into whatever fun program because you're keeping the kids' attention, okay? That's a tool that you're using, the entertainment, whatever it be, magic, puppets, whatever, but the message is the important thing, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the fax back forms. This is something that you're all going to get with the copyright free documents. We've talked about phone scripts earlier.
Fax back forms. You're gonna really enjoy that when you fax something at night, and then the next day, you're gonna go check your fax machine, and you'll see the fax back form back with all the information, with checking the box saying yes, I'm interested in knowing more information. I love when I do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Because daycare is a lot of, and people might think fax. This is 2014. People use fax. Yes, daycares actually still use faxes.
Yes, they do.
So you're going to get that. The assistant phone script, we specifically talked a lot about that tonight, hiring an assistant, going after a local mom, or even you just doing it. It doesn't have to be for an assistant, but you're getting a phone script that you can use in order to make those cold calls. So we're taking all of the guesswork even out of doing the phone calls and the cold calls. We're giving you a complete phone script. And you could change it, alter it for your need, for your own needs. You're getting the follow-up letters because, again, beyond the postcards that you send, and by the way, you're getting 2 different postcards. We're going to show you those in here in a second, but you're also getting the follow-up letters. You're getting the Who Better letter, which is an example, and this is the Who Better to design a kid safety show than a former New York City cop. Man, what a headline that is. That's going to grab people's attention. In addition to that, we had some questions about press release. John, talk a little bit about the press release. This is something that, where did you get this press? This was where?
This press, this paper, this is from the Orlando Sentinel. When I was telling you earlier, when I made the cold calls that month that I was going down there in July, and I booked 27 shows, when I booked the shows, I said, you know what, I'm going down there. Let me send out a press release because it's nice to get some press while you're down there. So the press release, I had it professionally done because I have to, let me just tell you this. I'm not really good with putting all words together and stuff, so I paid somebody to design this press release for me. And I sent it out to a couple different papers. Orlando Sentinel picked it up. They sent the reporter to come with me. In one day, I did three daycares, 2 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. They came with me. They did a whole story. They put it in the Orlando Sentinel. They put the shows where I was going to be, the different dates during the month. And I can't. What was sad about it was I was getting calls of people who were visiting my website from this press, and they wanted me to, well, we want to have you here, but I was leaving the end of July. I couldn't even do the shows. I was going back to Jersey. But it's a really good press release, and I've used it over and over again. And what's great about it is when you tell a daycare director, because let's face it, they're in business. They do like the publicity. If you tell them that you're going to provide them with a press release that they can either send out to the local press, or if you want to do it for them, that's an option that you have. If you want to Google the local press in that area and send something out to that newspaper, by all means. Actually, when I sent this press release, I did it in Philadelphia. I actually got on the news, Channel 6 News, came and actually filmed me and did a whole video, which you can find on my website, preschoolmagic.com. You'll actually see the news coverage that I got, the live coverage.
So you're going to get the press release that's going to allow you to be able to go out and generate new publicity. You're going to be able to generate all things like that. And whoops, my webinar software is going a little crazy over here. Sorry about that, guys. Let me move forward here, advance a couple slides. While I'm advancing into the slides, let me show you. We're going to take a look at the postcards here in just a second. And one of the questions that we had here was seeing some of this stuff. Well, we're going to actually show you. This is one of the really cool parts about it. Tell them about the StrangerDangerShow.com website, John.
Oh, yes, the Stranger Danger Show. There's actually two websites. But let me say about StrangerDangerShow.com is designed, and it's still in the works, guys. So when you visit it and you see some things, understand that this was just recently made. And it's going to be a wonderful website simply because it's going to be for those of you who invest in this program. You're actually going to be, when you're licensed in this program, you are going to be listed on here. So when somebody comes to this website, they're going to type in that box, their zip code, because they're looking for this educational program, and you're going to be in this. You're going to come up. If you're in that area, you're going to get the show. So this is not going to be about me. It has really nothing to do with me. Yeah, I'm going to be on the website for the credibility. It's going to where it's going to be about me, John Carlson. It's going to talk about being a New York City police officer, created the Stranger Danger Safety Program, and have licensed it to others throughout the country. That whole story is going to be in there. But guess who's going to get the job from this? You guys are. So it's going to be another, credibility thing. So plus, it's going to be, if you're into SEO, you're going to get a backlink on there too, which will help your organic search.
And this is all about credibility here, because also each licensee of the Stranger Danger program will receive the following. They're going to receive a priority listing on safedaycares.com as an official, authorized, and licensed safety edutainer. Let's explain that, John. What is safedaycares.com?
Okay. Here's another website, that I've had for many years. But I actually utilized it for you guys who are going to be licensed by this. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to tell the daycare director, hey, listen, as part of this program, once you have this program, this approved program in your daycare, you're going to get a free listing on safedaycares.com. Okay, so they're actually going to be able to go to Safe Daycares. They're going to be able to fill out all their information, put the website on there, put a picture on there, and be listed on this website. So it's going to be something, just another thing that you're going to be able to throw in their lap and say, hey, look what you're getting for having this program. Plus, in addition to that, on this website, again, you will also, because it's a two-part, it's going to be one side just for daycares, and the other side is going to be for approved educational entertainers. That's what you're going to be. You're going to be one of the approved educational entertainers. So you will also be listed on that website as well. So it's two websites that you're going to be a part of.
Yeah, that is awesome there. And you'll get the use, obviously, of the official Stranger Danger logo, but in addition, the Safe Daycares logo on your own website, whether it's on your general catch-all website or if you decide to make a niche-specific website just for the daycares, but you're going to get to use the Safe Daycares logo as well to let people know you are an approved performer or entertainer, safety edutainer for safedaycares.com. As far as the training goes of helping you guys really book some more shows in the daycare market, after you receive this great package with the DVD of the show and all of the marketing materials as well, you're going to be receiving also a 90-minute session of marketing strategy for booking daycares. This was videotaped live at a marketing seminar where John takes you step by step through exactly what he says in cold calls, how he books daycares on a shoestring budget, literally. You don't have to spend a lot of money.
I have to tell you about you're actually going to see me on my cell phone, sitting down, calling daycare directors. You're going to see what I actually say in my cold calls. And it's really, really cool. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, there's just a ton of John's best kept secrets on this video, and this is actually being edited right now. And we're going to be sending this out to the folks that decide to become licensees of the Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show. We're going to be sending this video out digitally in a couple of weeks, but everything else you guys are going to get next week when we actually ship all the orders out. So a closer look, I want to show you some of the easy to edit promo materials and marketing materials. This is a great postcard that was designed by me in Microsoft Word. I've used this template for other mailings and whatnot, and I've thrown this into the mix here, but you're able to edit it in something as simple as Microsoft Word. You can change all of the elements. You can call it something besides the Safety Tribune. You could change where it's coming from, the date. We call this the preschool edition, but you can change all of that. I make something funny little up here like the weather. It's always sunny in New Jersey, but you're able to customize this. And then over here on the back, you're able to mail merge in your client's name. So we talked about having a list earlier, and John talks about a list in the video. And you could even go to your local library and get a free list, as Bob Cordero was pointing out in the chat box earlier. But you mail merge in your list, which is something very easy to do in Microsoft Word. And the daycare director gets this cool little thing called the Safety Tribune, or again, whatever you want to call it. And when she gets it, it says, Sally, there's still time. John Carlson, of course, would be replaced with your name. The Bob Cordero Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show is touring through the area, and we would love to present this program for your preschoolers, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I've written the copy in this so you can keep it as is or change it for your own needs. And of course, you can put your phone number in there and customize this entire thing. This is a copy of the gorgeous poster that we created just for this. And as you can see, yes, this was after we had caught in the initial recreation of these marketing materials, because when we decided to re-release this, we took a lot of the marketing materials that John had been using over the years and we updated them. And the reaction, John, from your clients with these new things.
It was like night and day, because I was using the old school stuff. And then when we updated to this, the full color and everything, I can't tell you when they get this poster, it's there every single time I do my Stranger Danger Safety Show. Every time I walk in that door to set up for the show, it's there on the right side of the wall, and it's got the date, it's got the time. They want to brag to the parents. It's a great tool.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, here's the beautiful logo up nice and close there, and there's the word mark or the alternate logo that you guys can use. Here's a copy of the postcard. We took one. This was one that was a bad address, and we just took a shot of it here. This is one that John actually sent out a week or so ago. And this is, we're going to give you guys the layered Photoshop file for this. So if you know how to do Photoshop, you can work it yourself, or you can give this to a graphic designer, go onto Fiverr, have a graphic designer edit this for you. But we're going to give you the layered Photoshop file for this, which is a huge value just in and of itself. This is such a nice looking preschool or lead generation letter to go out to the preschools. And again, you're able to change the phone number, do anything you want on there. You guys are going to be getting the coloring sheet, as you may have seen outlined in here. And we actually tell the clients that the daycares that this is the stuff that are extras that they're getting with the show. We're going to mention the child ID kits in the middle. This is an example of the fax back form that you guys are going to get. The who better than someone who wore a badge as a New York City police officer for over 20 years to teach your children about personal safety. Again, that's all stuff you can use. These are templates of John's letters that he uses. You're going to be able to get these and use these in your own business. So I have a lot of people now, John, in the chat box here chomping at the bit. Everyone wants to know, all right, Brad and John, how much is this going to cost? You are going to be, if you decide tonight to become a Stranger Danger licensee of this is going to be offered and only available for a very limited time. You guys are going to be able to grab this for only 2 easy payments of $249, spread 30 days apart, or a single payment of $498. In the chat box now, guys, there is a link to the order page there, and this is it, makemagicmoney.com/daycares with an S at the end, all lowercase. This is your opportunity to grab a totally turnkey program that has been written by someone who is qualified. It has been put together in an easy-to-digest fashion for the preschool audience. You are going to be getting the DVD for the performance. You're going to be able to customize it as much or as little as you want. And don't let magic scare you. There's a few tricks that we utilize that are very easy in this that you can pick up from any magic dealer. It's not going to cost you a fortune to do those tricks. Or you can modify it and use your own tricks when you see the script, if you figure out there's other things that you can do. I know we have someone who's a singer that's here on the webinar tonight. He says he's a crooner, and he's done some some children's shows, this is something that you could certainly incorporate into there. If you do balloons or face painting, I mean, you could still expand. And this is an opportunity to do a show that's already been written for you and done for you. And of course, as a magician or a ventriloquist or as a clown, this is a perfect opportunity to really expand your brand by offering something that's now educational, gain some press, generate some goodwill, and really doing something amazing for the community. Now, we have a couple special things here for fast action takers only. 3 bonus gifts if you are one of the first 12 orders only. Bonus number 1 is the official, and I can't believe we're doing this. John twisted my arm into doing this. The official Stranger Danger suitcase table roll-out banner. This is a $69 value sold separately, but it's yours free. We've designed a beautiful banner with the logo, spelled correctly, that is on a beautiful vinyl, all hemmed on the sides, that you guys will be able to attach right to your suitcase table, right to your magic stand, your performance table, what have you. Again, these are going to be sold on the Stranger Danger website that John has set up. These are going to be sold separately, but you guys, if you are among the first 12, you are getting this free. So literally, you're getting a $69, almost $70 value in this, which is awesome. Here's a picture of it on John's suitcase table. There's his there's your grandson.
There's little EJ, 10
yeah.
months old today.
It gets, this was on your way this morning to your daycare show.
That's right.
John was loading up, and it gets EJ's approval there. So,
right.
So again, you're keeping with the branding. Any of you guys that know my marketing and know my studying, or know my teachings rather, have studied my teachings, how on top of branding I am, and what a big fan I am of building your brand. And nothing is going to help establish the brand of the Stranger Danger Kids Safety Show more than wheeling your table in, unrolling this, and bam, you're ready to go. So again, this is going to be free for only the first 12 people.
It makes you stand out amongst your competition.
Absolutely. Again, if you're not in the 12 people, you guys can purchase that separately, but for the first 12 people, and we'll let you know if we get to that number before this webinar is over, when we've hit those first 12. The second bonus is you're going to get a CD, a double audio CD set that John and I did several years ago, called Daycare's A to Z, everything you need to know to make big bucks in the daycare market. This is great for popping in your car, listening to on your way to shows, on your way to your full-time job if you're doing part-time work. But this is great to download onto your MP3 player, listen to it at the gym, listen to it in the car, in the shower, if that's your personality, whatever you want. But John and I take a really nice approach to educating you guys. It's very much like like a couple of guys on a morning talk show. We have a lot of fun, but we share a lot of great information. This is over an hour and a half of audio learning that you guys can listen to and get a ton of takeaways, even beyond what we talked about here tonight. And again, the third bonus here is a copy of John Carlson's book, Big Birthday Party Business. This is the perfect companion. We didn't even talk about that tonight, John, which is
we didn't really talk much about cross-marketing. But I can't
cross-marketing.
Right,
do me a favor, just take a minute and talk to folks. Just give them a little bit of a taste about the cross-marketing of working the birthday party market and how working daycares actually will build your birthday party business. Talk to them just about that.
All right, sure. I'll go back and forth with two different ways. Basically, if you're doing birthday parties, okay, this is a little tool that I use and that you could use to sell your daycare show, especially the Stranger Danger Safety Show. When you book a birthday party, many times, you may be booking a show for a preschool age child. Or let's just say you're booking a magic show or any type of, puppet show, whatever, for an 8-year-old child. Many times they have siblings that are in that 2, 3, 4-year age range. Now, generally what I do is when I book the birthday party, I ask the birthday mom, I say, hey, you have siblings too? And, oh, yeah, little Johnny has siblings. And do they go to preschools? And I'll tell you the name. I'll tell you the daycare directors. And I go, I have a Stranger Danger Safety Show. Is it okay if I use you as a reference? And I can't tell you how many times when I call that daycare, I go, Mrs. So-and-so recommended a birthday party, but I also have a Stranger Danger Kid Safety Show. And it meant, oh, really? Oh, I know Mrs. Jones, and it gives you that in to get into that daycare with your Stranger Danger show. And again, also, if you're in the daycare market, you can get the birthdays from the daycare market. So they're sending home that letter to the parents, and I can't tell you how many times I'll get a phone call because on the letter to the parents, there's a little secret. In your postscript at the bottom, you could also put also available for birthday parties. All right, a little secret there. And, the moms are getting the letter all about the educational program that their kid learned today, and then now they know they have somebody for birthday parties. So it's a great way to do the cross marketing back and forth. So keep you busy on both ends.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So again, you guys are going to get those 3 bonuses if you are among the first 12, and I'll have to check in the order system to see how many we have so far. But get those orders in right away. MakeMagicMoney.com/daycares with an S, all lowercase letters. There it is, right there for you guys. We're going to take some questions here. Let's see. Oh boy, the chat box is exploding in here. All right.
Oh, if I could, I'm going to just tell you one thing too. I think we've got to mention. You're going to get a letter too about corporate sponsorship. That is going to, if you want to get into getting people, local business to pay for it, we have a letter that's all ready to go for you guys. And I don't think Brad put it in the slides, but you're going to be able to send out this letter to local business that are going to have these people wanting to put your show into that daycare fully paid, and you're going to get top dollar for it. And this letter is going to blow them away.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some folks have asked about the areas that this covers, and I'll just answer that question. Unfortunately, guys, if we were going to make this a market exclusive license, in other words, you are the only person that's allowed to have this in the state of Ohio, or you're the only person that's allowed to have this well, obviously not New Jersey, because that would be John, but it would be a lot more expensive than this, guys. It would probably be in closer to the $2,000 range. So in order to keep this available, it is available to anyone who decides to invest in this. It decides to. John, your microphone's given just a little bit. Just move it closer to your face there. Yep, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. If you were to again offer it for that market exclusive, it would be very difficult to keep the costs down. So yes, anyone will be able to invest in this. However, we are 100 people on here this evening, and obviously, out of all the places you could be performing, if you get this and you are among the first person to get this, you are going to be the first person to get this out to the daycares. So once you have already mailed this out to the daycares, you're the one getting the bookings, and you are going to be the one that is benefiting from this. And again, this is not being promoted to thousands upon thousands of people. We are a small enough group here, so fear not. And John is not even really restricting the license to this in New Jersey, are you? I mean,
no,
if people are in New Jersey and or in the New York area, you're still open to purchase this, John, right?
Yeah, you really are. And I have to tell you though, this is about business, but it's also about caring for our kids. And the way that I feel is if this program can get to every single kid in this country, all the better. And if the guys here in Jersey are going to get this program and send out the same market, that's fine. Because let me tell you something, there's variety entertainers that do different stuff than I do, which is great. So they could bring something different to the table, and that's what I love. They're bringing a different show, but they're bringing the same important message.
Absolutely. Well, definitely getting orders in here. I see Robert has already placed his order down in Florida, and Bob Cordero got it out there in Chicago, and Mike.
Action taker.
Yep, Mike Arati, you're getting it. Annie Banani and Buster Balloon out in California. So I mean, these are people that have been in the business a while. Bob Cordero is the king of the daycare market out in his way, and the people that are taking advantage of this right now. I'm looking at the orders coming in. We're already down to. It looks like we have. Let's see. It looks like there's still 7 left of the early bird packages here with the suitcase table rollout, the book, and the audio CD set. So get those in, guys, because again, this is not going to last long, especially those first 12. And this whole offer. Oh, it looks like Michael Creighton we got your order in there, Michael. So you are locked in here, my friend.
Taker. Most of my success, Brad, I got to say, is taking action. And anytime that I saw an opportunity where somebody provided something extra for me, I took action right away because I knew it was only going to benefit me.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things about success, they've actually done studies on this. The most successful people in the world make decisions quickly. And, I'm not saying that, believe me, if you guys don't feel like this program is right for you, don't buy it. I'm not telling you this just to, trick you into buying it, but they do say, just in general, a great little tidbit here. Forbes magazine actually talked about this. The most successful people in the world actually are very quick action takers and decision makers. And I know you're like that, John, and I'm like that. When I know there's something, John and I, we still to this day invest in our marketing education. We spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars going to marketing conferences, learning, educating ourselves, and we're like marketing nerds because we'll be at a conference together and we just give the look at each other, and all of a sudden we just say, oh man, we got to get this. We have to get that program, or we have to enroll in this conference, because we just get so excited to grow our business. And I think you guys are like that. Obviously, you see Michael Bosniak, he just ordered in on that. Excellent. These are people that I'm actually familiar with a lot of these names, because these are the guys that take action consistently. They recognize the value of growing their businesses. And those are the people that are going to be first in their marketplaces to get this show out there on the open marketplace, selling it to daycares and making it work for them. And again, the beauty of a show in the box, guys, is not that we're trying to make you into a John Carlson. You're different performers, you're different people.
That's right.
This is your opportunity to take the hard work that's been done already, not have to reinvent the wheel, and simply make the changes that apply to you, make the tweakings that apply to you. See what John does in his show, adjust it to your own personality, your own style, add your own material in there. But if we've already done all the hard work, creating the phone script, creating the letters, the marketing materials, you're going to be able to get that out there. And actually, we forgot to mention the private Facebook group, John.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a little bit about that to everybody.
Yeah, you're going to be, listen, anybody that invests in this program, you're investing in your own business, you're investing in the future, the safety of the future of children across this whole country. You're going to be involved in our private Facebook group, where we're going to be able to, and it's going to be, I say private, only those who have this program will be part of this private Facebook group. So we will be able to, let's face it, as we bring this out there, there's a lot of creative people that are on this phone call, okay? There are a lot of creative people who are going to buy this program, who are going to invest in this program. When you're in this Facebook group, let me tell you something, it's going to be on fire, because there are going to be ideas that are coming from these creative minds that people are going to get off each other and feed off each other and be, wow, man, I can't believe that's a fantastic idea. And I know, listen, I don't mean to sound a little selfish here, but I'm looking, because I know there's a lot of great minds on this call. I'm looking to being on that same Facebook group with you, because you know what? It's not finished yet. This is an ongoing program that we're only going to make better and better, and it's going to benefit not only us as a business, it's going to benefit the daycares, and it's going to be a program that's going to just stand out amongst all the other programs that are offered out there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're very excited about this, and actually, you guys are joining. We have some of our It Factor Live alumni from my marketing boot camp and business building workshop. It Factor Live are also a part of this group. So you're really working with a lot of elite people in this program, which is awesome, because you're working with players out there. Folks like Dave Jeffers up in the Buffalo, New York area. Dave and his wife Kathleen are two extraordinary people that I've had the privilege and pleasure to get to know over the last couple of years. They're actually doing daycare shows, making $1,000 or more a pop, because their model for daycares is creating a larger event where they actually charge per child at the daycare. So it costs the daycare nothing, and they're making a lot of money with that. So you're going to get to learn in this Facebook community of stranger danger licensees. Again, that's a private top secret group that only people who have a license to stranger danger are going to be a part of. And you're going to get to learn from people. You're going to be able to share strategies. It's going to be an incredible learning experience that, hey, you go out and you create a new mailing, you post it in the Facebook private group page, and you guys can share ideas for booking daycares. I think Mike Perello, you were just telling me, John, Mike Perello, who's a licensee, he was posting some stuff earlier on today. So, I mean, man, this is just a great opportunity. And again, it's not just for magicians. Virginia is asking, as a face painter, it might be hard to implement, but animals is possible. Yeah, definitely you can incorporate animals into the show.
Of course you can.
And just because, here's the other thing, just because you guys may paint yourself with the brush of being a face painter or a balloon artist, doesn't mean you can't learn a couple of these simple magic tricks and add this to your repertoire, and now you can add a whole nother price structure to what you're already doing with this program. And it doesn't, you don't have to be a classically trained magician to do magic in a daycare setting. This is an opportunity for you guys to expand and make more money no matter what it is that you guys do.
And if you think about all the things that are offered in here, if I were to start from scratch and and pay somebody. And listen, over the years, I put a lot of money into this. This cost me a lot of money to have a press release. I had a professional. I didn't sit there and write down this press release by myself. I actually hired somebody to do this, and I spent some good money doing this press release. And it really, I can't tell you how many times I send out that newspaper article in my daycare, package with my brochure or whatever, and the daycare directors, they read that, the press that I got. It's phenomenal. And if you put every single piece together, it's I can't tell you the cost that you would have to spend if you were to do this from scratch. It would be phenomenal. Look at the prices being offered here. This is, listen, I've invested in a lot of shows in a box, so to speak. Some good, some okay, and some downright terrible. But none of them have offered this much. Not one single one has given 2 websites, has given, I don't even remember any program that has given a press release. I don't remember any program that has given a letter to the parents. Think about all the things that you're getting, and it's really a small investment. I'm telling you right now, if you invest in this program, don't sit on your butt. If you're thinking about it, if you're on a line, if this, you're on that line where I'm not sure if I have the money, I'm telling you right now, step out in faith and do it, because it's gonna come back to you. You're gonna invest a small amount of money, but it's gonna pay big dividends.
Yep.
I promise you. You're gonna be saying to me in a few months from now, you're gonna be emailing me, and for those of you who are lucky enough to get in right away, you're gonna have that half hour with me on the phone, and I'm gonna tell you something. We're gonna talk the talk, man, and I'm not gonna pull back. I'm gonna tell you what you need to do. You're gonna get all the ins and outs, things that we haven't had time to talk about here. So I'm telling you, get on there. Click on that button, and I promise you're going to get wonderful follow-up. You're going to get a program that has never been offered before in our entertainment industry. You're going to blow the doors off these daycares. You're going to really book a lot of shows, and I'm telling you, you're going to come back to me. I'm really looking forward to it. Where you're going to tell me how much money you made, how many thousands and thousands of dollars that you have made. You're an action taker. Take some action. Listen, I've talked to many magicians over the years. I've always been quiet. People tell me, come up to me, and they ask me, John, how do you do with your shows and everything? Well, here you're a really busy guy, and I've always been elusive. I never wanted to sound like a braggart. I do this many shows. I've always been the quiet guy. But listen, I have to lay it out there. I have to tell you, I make over $100,000 a year just doing shows, simply because I'm an action taker. Not because I'm the best entertainer in the world. Let me tell you, I can't tell you how many guys are in this phone call now. I know some of you have signed up. I've seen your YouTube videos. You guys are phenomenal entertainers, man. I look at you and I go, whoa, I wish I could be that entertaining. Let me tell you something. You take that entertainment value that you have and you put it together with this educational program, you're going to make a lot of money. You really invest in yourself, you're going to make it back, folks. So get to it. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really excited about this program.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob Cordero just chimed in. He says he's just ordered as well. And he had said, I changed the way I do business thanks to Brad and John. Well, we really appreciate that.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Bob is one of those guys, who he private messages me on Facebook, and he's got a question about something. Bob knows, man. I answer him back. I tell him what it's like. I mean, Bob's one of the guys who got an app for his own business. And I can't tell you how many people don't have their own app. Here's one. He was an action taker. When we got into the apps, the entertainment apps, he was one of the first guys that jumped on it.
And actually, you know what? Bob is willing. He said he wants to come on and just share a few things. So I'm going to unmute Bob. This was unexpected here, but I'm going to unmute Bob. He's in Chicago right now. He's in the Chicagoland area. We also have Robert Siegel saying, I'm all fired up on this. So excited to have this. We've got Danny Hamill saying, thanks so much, guys. Can't wait to receive all of this. Bob, my friend, welcome to the webinar. Bob, you there?
Hey, Bob.
Yep, I unmuted you, Bob. Do we got you live? Oh, he says he lost us. He was trying to bring him on here live.
We'll try and get you back, Bob.
Oh, he says he can't hear us. All right. Let me mute Bob again and then unmute him. Let's see if we can get him on here live. While we're doing that, let me check the chat box. Bob, you're unmuted, so just start talking if you end up coming on. Is this Jim Ferrero? I think that's how you say your last name. Jim is an actor, and Jim, as an actor, our good friend Jimmy Brown once said that he heard who was it? Jimmy's actually here in the studio too. Jimmy, who was someone that told you that the person that makes the best magician is an actor?
That's correct.
Who was it that said that?
Copperfield.
David Copperfield told Jimmy actually grew up with Copperfield, and he said that the best magician often makes, or the best magician is made by an actor. So Jim, if you're used to acting and singing and dancing, I mean, you purchasing a program like this, outside of your acting career and your singing career, doing daycare shows in the mornings, I mean, hey, you go out, you make $250, and that's the reality, guys. Is we didn't get to talk that much tonight about pricing, but it certainly is something John can give you expertise on in your private coaching call with John. But going rates, depending on where you are, you can make $200, $250 easily in the daycare market.
I can just tell you right now, the average rate that I get here in Jersey for a show that I book on my own is $250. But when you do the corporate sponsorship and you tell the local plumbing company, who is a big company, that they have to invest $350 in this program, it's a drop in the bucket for them.
How much do they pay for? I mean, how much do they pay for? Especially companies like plumbing companies or orthodontists, doctors still actually take Yellow Page ads. They spend thousands on ads, thousands.
Yeah, and we also forgot to. Brad, we forgot to talk about the fingerprint kit.
The fingerprint kit.
Oh my goodness, we forgot all about that. I have a little side note here, footnote, and let me tell you something. You're going to have access to a fingerprint kit that you can customize with this logo, and it costs under $1 a piece. And when you tell them that they're going to be able to have a fingerprint kit for their child in school, the schools will pay for it. And if they don't pay for it, the sponsorship the company will pay the extra money for that, and you're going to get the actual. You're going to be able to get the company that we use, and we're not going to make any money off that. You're going to get the actual source, and you're going to be able to have these fingerprint kits customized with your website on it, and it's going to go home with every child. And
I just popped it up here on the screen.
There it is.
This is so cool. And John actually has a local orthodontic office that sponsored this. He's actually worked with quite a few different companies that have sponsored this. And what happens is if you guys want to offer this as an upsell or something that for yourself, you could put your own logo in there like John has right here, brought to you with care by John's Magic, and John's Magic is his catch-all website. So every parent that goes home with this is seeing johnsmagic.com, helping cross-market to the birthday party businesses, and so on and so forth. But if you get like a local orthodontic office, a pediatrician, a chiropractor, plumbers, electricians, anything in the area, local toy shop, kids shoe store, every kid at your daycares, again, this is a drop in the bucket for them. These cost about $1 each, John?
They cost wholesale. They're about $1 a piece. You can sell them for $3 a piece. I have before. I've sold these for $3 a piece and made a profit on them. And if you want to put them together as a package for a corporate sponsorship, by all means you can do that. When you tell them that their company name is going to be on there and their website, and it's going home with every child in that daycare, they're ready to sign on the dotted line. And again, we're providing you with the corporate sponsorship letter, which is going to tell them this company all about this whole program, all the points and everything it's going to teach the kids, and they know that they're in business. They do this stuff all the time, but you're providing a program that is different than any other.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we did lose Bob. Something happened with his audio. He just sent me a message. But in any event, Bob just wanted to talk a little bit further about him working with us. But we thank you, Enda, for trying to do that, Bob. There, much appreciated. But yeah, this again is phenomenal. And I think this has just got, just such a great tool to offer. And you know what the reality is here, guys, is we hope that not one of these parents will ever have to use this. I kind of get chills when I say that. We hope that not one of these parents that gets this will ever have to use this, and thank you for it. But it is a precaution, and John, believe me, John has shared many stories with me as a 21-year veteran of the New York Police Department.
That's right.
But in the event that something, God forbid, something happened, this is something that parents are very, very grateful to have. Again, God forbid, in the worst case scenario, and at the same time, you're providing a great service, and it's bringing, it's helping bring awareness to, again, again, a chiropractor, a local orthodontic office, and so much. I mean, you guys could get the sponsorship from any of those people and really help grow this. So again, there is the website on there, makemagicmoney.com/daycares. Were you going to just add something else in there, John?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, this is a very rewarding program. And I've been telling you this, I can't tell you how many times over the years the daycare directors have thanked me for this program. Because a couple times it actually really benefited. I can't tell you how many times daycare directors told me and said to me that we actually had a time where one of our children, because they learned about calling 911, they knew to call the number because their mother got sick, and they were able to get the ambulance. This is a 4-year-old child, 4-year-old child was able to call 911 because of something that you did, a program that you brought in. I think about when a daycare director tells you that, that's going to make you, listen, you made the money, you did the show, but what is that going to do for you as a human being? It's going to make you feel that you really brought something that really helped save somebody's life. Nobody else can do this. You're going to be able to do it.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Scott Dorfman out in Vegas wanted to know how long will this be available. This current offer is going to end actually for basically 48 hours from now. So we're going to edit the replay of this because there were actually quite a few people that, again, with over 200 people, over 215 people registered. I don't know how many people tried to get on at the last minute. There were a lot of people that did not get into this webinar tonight. So we're going to quickly toss this replay together after we get off here in a minute and send this out to everybody tomorrow, so everyone will have the opportunity to rewatch this if you decide not to get in on this tonight, and if you need to think about it. But basically 48 hours, this will end on Friday night, Valentine's Day, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the offer is going to shut down, and we don't know when we're going to make this available. Again, obviously, we want to be a little bit careful with this, that we don't want to flood a marketplace with 1,000 people doing this. Again, the first people to get this are the first people that are going to be promoting this in their markets, and so, again, it doesn't really matter, where you're located. You're going to be able to use this. In fact, I've seen already a couple of New Jersey folks that have gotten this, New York and New Jersey. There's so many daycares and preschools, guys. There's no way you could, with how many we're going to release of this. Again, we're only making this available for 48 hours. There's no way we're going to sell 500 of these or 1,000 of these. You don't have to worry about that. My list is not that big, and not everyone's going to be interested in doing this. But this offer will be closed down on Friday night, and I don't know. It's not a marketing play. I just don't know when we're going to re-release this, if we're going to re-release this.
Must I mention, just so you guys know, you can also offer this program to elementary schools. You guys are school show guys. Guess what? K1, 2, and 3. They will do it. Okay? If you're already doing school shows, you're a school show guy, and you have connections with school principals, PTAs, tell them about your Stranger Danger Safety Show. They're not going to bring you in for the older kids, but they will bring you in for the younger kids. I'll tell you right now. And guess what? You can get a lot more money. So think about it, folks. There's a lot of different markets you can bring this into. Okay? Anywhere where there's younger kids, bring it in. Provide them with a program that they're going to love you for.
Yep. Absolutely. So any final questions here before we wrap up, guys? I know we're nearing the 2-hour mark, so we're going to try and wrap up here in the next 5 minutes here. Mike Bosniak says, over delivery. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you very, very much there, Mike.
Thank you. Another action taker, man. He's another successful guy. I know Mike for a while now.
Yep.
And I've actually, called him sometimes for, Mike's one of those guys that call him for some gigs out Long Island. And I stopped calling because every time I call him, he's like, oh, I'm booked. Here's a guy, successful, That's what it boils down to. Successful people are just going to keep investing in this program. And if you're not successful, and if you're getting, you want a program that you've never provided before, get this program. It's going to be something you're really going to be able to offer, and you're going to reap the benefits, and so will the children, the daycare directors, the schools.
Yep, absolutely. And Paul Dahlholt is in Kentucky. Just spent the weekend. Paul was with us all at Capital Convention. Great hanging out with you there, Paul. Paul says Golden Nuggets here. Golden Nuggets. Yep, that is.
Yeah, Paul is an actual an ex airline pilot, and I was just expressing this at the IFL. I was so impressed that a guy was sitting there who was a pilot. Can you imagine a pilot so responsible for so many people's lives on a plane? It always impressed me. I always feel like a little kid. I remember as a police officer, I had little kids come up to me. They look at the gun. They want to touch the gun, and they look at the badge, and they're so impressed upon it. never really could understand that. But when I see a pilot, when I get on a plane, I'm always like, wow, this guy did so much training, has so much knowledge, and so much skill to fly this big jet and to have be responsible for all those lives on the plane. And here is a guy that's going to be using this program. Him and his wife, his lovely wife Robin, who's a great
Yep.
supporter of this whole business. And it's just what a great team that they are. And they're going to be bringing this program into so many daycares and preschools.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Jim is saying, I feel like I should start calling daycares right now. There you go, Jim. That's it. Dynamite the Magician says, thank you. I feel like I'm sitting on a gold mine listening to this webinar. Thank you very much, Mike. Really glad you said that. Eddie Wade says YMCAs, churches, and schools are all great places that you can promote this at.
Thank you, Eddie. That's right.
Yep. And Jeb says, I'm really excited. I was going to do an anti-bully show, and this is perfect timing for me. Perfect.
Absolutely. And remember, if you're already offering educational programs in any venue, this is just another thing that you can bring them. Because if they're loving what you already do, and you tell them you have another program and you offer this to them, I'm telling you they're going to jump on it.
Yep. Jason Garcia says, I love this, and I want to use this ASAP. Awesome. There we go. So, yeah, guys, we want to thank you for joining us here this evening. Obviously, with 100 people on here, I know we didn't get to every single question, but you can certainly feel free to go to makemagicmoney.com and click on the header there in the banner box. I have a spot for submitting questions to us, and you can submit a question, and we'll answer that in an upcoming email here over the next 2 days when we send out the replay and do the follow-up and everything on Friday. Or you can just drop me an email to brad@makemagicmoney.com. We'll also try and take a peek through the emails or through the chat box questions that came in here, and we'll include some of those answers to those unanswered questions in the emails that we're going to send out to you guys tomorrow. And of course, submit any other questions to brad@makemagicmoney.com. And again, just get those orders in. I lost count. I haven't gone back into the box to check, but I think we are still in that 12 there for you guys. So you guys can definitely get in on that bonus order there, which is awesome. And again, makemagicmoney.com/daycares. We are really truly looking forward to working with you guys and to bringing you into this awesome little community that we have as a part of the Stranger Danger Kid Safety Show. And again, the biggest piece of this is you guys are getting someone who has been doing this show for 25 years as your guide. John's going to be in that Facebook page.
I'm going to be here for you.
And he's going to be answering your email questions. He's going to be, you're going to be setting up those consultations with him. And I mean, John is very generous with his time, and he's a guy that's out there working. So you'll be able to really ask him questions, even some of the cross-marketing stuff, pricing questions, strategies, and the other thing too we didn't mention, John, here, we've been so excited here, is that as you develop some new marketing materials for this, or should I say, as you twist my arm to develop new marketing material.
I'm very fortunate, I must admit, that I have Brad Ross as my best friend, okay? And he does help me. It is a benefit, okay, so I will admit that. But as Brad and I together, because Brad knows that I'm an action guy, Brad knows I come up with ideas, and Brad will be like, you see his eyes light up, whoa! And then he makes it happen a lot of times. He's like the guy, or if I have an idea, he'll go, John, we got to do this. And then we'll get together and we'll brainstorm. And as this program develops even further, we're going to develop more marketing material. And anything that we develop, and you know how good Brad is with putting this stuff together. You know how good he is with all the headlines, and he knows how to touch the emotional buttons. He knows all that stuff. As we come out with new marketing material that we're going to add to this over and over again, guess what? You are going to get it. It's all part of the investment that you're making tonight, okay? You're going to get it. If it's 6 months from now, if it's a year from now, whenever, it's going to be, you're not going to get an email from Brad and I saying, hey, we came up with a new postcard, send us $29.95.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any more upsells. It's going to be there for you. You're going to get the download.
Yep.
Boom, you can use it, change it, adapt it. And I'm just telling you, some of you are going to get off the call tonight after Brad says his final goodbyes. You're going to be thinking about it. And you may talk to your spouse, your loved one, and say, listen, I'm really thinking tomorrow morning I want to go onto the Make Magic Money /daycares website, and I want to put this order in. And that's what you're going to be thinking about doing. And you're going to have the support of your loved ones just all I say is, and this is just from experience, I've had many people who try to ruin my dream of doing many things in my life. And when I listen to those negative people who got in the way and wanted to just take me down with them, you know, I learned the hard way. And I learned to just put the blinders on. And when I had a good feeling about something, a good opportunity, especially in this entertainment business that I've always loved, anytime that I had a good feeling about something and invested in something, and I went forward with it, and I bought it or invested in it, it always has benefited me over and over again. So I just to say, you know, my last words here, if you're on the line, step out in faith. I promise you that Brad and I are going to be here to support you, to be there for you, and help you and motivate you to make it happen. Okay, that's all I need to say. It's a great program, guys, and I'm just super excited about it. Brad knows, you know, for a long time I've always told him. Brad's asked me, you know, many years, like we've been friends, about different markets that I've worked. You know, what's been the most successful? And I said this years ago. I said my Stranger Danger safety show has always been the best thing for me. And he said to me, you know, you really need to put that out there. And I told Brad for many years, nah, this is my baby. I'm never gonna put this out there. I'll offer different things. I'll offer my big birthday party business.
I think the first time I mentioned this to you was when we were flying to Atlanta, Georgia in 2005 for a Dave D marketing conference, and I said we were on the plane, and and I said, John, I said, man, you've got such an amazing safety show, Stranger Danger. You got to think about putting that out. Everyone's gonna love that. And he turned me down, and I remembered it, but I sat on it for a long time, and it wasn't until this last year I said, John, you know, now's the time to do this.
Selfish of me. I'll admit, Brad, it was selfish of me, because this is the program. You know, listen, it has benefited me over the years financially. I can't tell you how much money I've made over and over again, year after year in the daycare for this program.
Yep.
But now it's time to share this baby with everybody, so you can benefit financially, and the children are really. The end result is you're going to help save kids' lives.
This is really a win-win situation. You're going to be doing something great for your community, and again, just like Eddie Wade suggested, YMCA's, man, this is a great show. YMCA's, community organizations, Elks Clubs, you know, Knights of Columbus, they're all very community-oriented, temples, churches, places of worship. Again, you know, malls, yeah, absolutely, malls, definitely. So the possibilities with this are endless, and again, some of the best part of this is that you're getting the ball rolling here, and again, please keep us up to date, guys, as we'll share with everyone, you know, in the private Facebook page. Once we get all these orders processed over the weekend here, you guys will be added into the private Facebook page, and then all these orders are going to be shipping out next week to you guys. And keep us abreast of any questions that you have. If you guys come up, here's the cool part, if you guys come up with an idea and say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you guys could develop a brochure that we can plug and play? Guess what? We'll develop it and we'll give it to you guys. Again, we're not going to say, hey guys, it's going to be $60 or $100 for this brochure. Now, the only caveat to that is the banner rollouts, which we will make available after we're finished with those 12. That's the only thing that we just can't, because it's a physical thing. It's a real physical.
Real high quality. It really.
And so obviously we can't just say, hey, everyone's going to get one of those. That is a special offer just for those first 12 there. And again, we'll be sending out an email to everyone tonight. We'll tally up those orders and get you those, you know, to let you know that you're in the first 12. I tried to tell as many people as I could. Again, I lost track, but some people were asking and I was telling you in there. But again, any questions that you guys have, please don't hesitate to ask. We thank you really very, very much for joining us here tonight on the webinar. John, thanks so much for making this available to my friends here at MakeMagicMoney.com and the Magic Marketing Center.
It's an absolute pleasure. I really love being a part of this, Brad. Thank you, Brad, for talking me into doing this, and I'm just really looking forward to seeing you guys on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here and spending a little bit of time on your Wednesday evening with us here at MakeMagicMoney.com and the Magic Marketing Center. As always, please keep me posted. Let me know how I can be of help to you and your businesses. I look forward to learning of your successes and helping you down the line to book more shows, book more gigs, and make more money. Until next time, this is Brad Ross on behalf of John Carlson for MakeMagicMoney.com and the Magic Marketing Center saying, do what you love and love what you do. Good night, everybody.